I'm still thinking that I want to serialize the beginning of that though, because it's going to be such a mess. And I think maybe if I'm forced to compress it into like 1,500 to 2,000 word chunks, it's probably going to be easier to do. So if I'm going to record it in 10-minute sections, it'll probably make more sense.
Well, you're already having wild success under your Chuck Tingle pseudonym, so you should just go ahead and keep with. Oh, wait a minute, we're live. Sorry. Hang
Look,
on.
dude, look, you're not supposed to say my pen name aloud. I thought we had this conversation. God.
No, that was about the unlubricated dildo of truth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of DRS Live. And as you can tell, we're starting off great. Last time it took an entire hour for them to drive us into the depths. This time we're starting out there. Thank you for that, Terry.
I'm all about getting us right to the point.
I'm very hurt.
Are you?
I'm very hurt. I got my hair buzzed and all cleaned up, and you haven't said a damn word about how beautiful I look.
I'm pretty sure those words are never coming out of my mouth, but you've got headphones on and I can't really see the sides of your head. How can I tell what you're doing?
Because usually there's a bunch of shit hanging out.
You already look like a sheepdog with the stuff hanging over your side there. Is that like a mini mullet? You've got a mini mullet.
Excuse me?
You've got a mini mullet. It's short in the back, but you're shaved on the sides. You're like a mini mullet. Speaking of mini mullets, just a weird happenstance. There was something on the TV showing the winners of the mullet competition for the year. Apparently, there's all kinds of weird categories for mullets.
Why, dear God, why was D. Snyder hosting it?
I couldn't tell. I just saw the website and went there and scrolled down that. Trust me, there was some serious, mulletry. There was mulletry going on. Someone was committing mulletry.
They were mantling some.
No, you're gonna have to do better than that. If you're gonna use mantling, you're gonna have to try better.
Mantling mulletry.
Nope, doesn't work. You're gonna have to try again later.
He was mantled. No,
nope. Sorry.
Mantled and nerdery. Wouldn't that work?
Mantled and nerdery would work.
See, there we go. In this case,
it only took you 4 tries to get there.
Shut up. We're live. You're not supposed to roast me this hard until later.
Am I supposed to say that's what she said now?
I always did this. You did this. You started out with the lubricated dildo of truth, and here we are. Okay? I want it understood. I did not start us on this track, and we all know how impressionable I am when it goes. I'm not going to say it. When it pertains to conversation. Don't look at me like that. It's obvious.
Just keep trying. Somebody eventually will believe you.
No,
I'm not sure when, but maybe.
They're really not going to believe me. That's really not happening. Howdy, Dean. How's Mr. Murder Mittens? Mr. Murder Mittens is currently crashed out on the Mac Mini, ignoring humans as he is wont to do until it's time for him to want something else. So he's doing fine. He's doing good. Yeah, reverse mullet, Matt. I'm with you. Actually, I had a reverse mullet once upon a time.
How the hell does a reverse mullet work?
Well, it was shaved all the way up here, and then I had hair, just shit ton of bangs down to here, with the side shaved and everything else.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, Schlumberger was really happy when they had to take my passport photo. Oh, how professional you look. It's like, fuck you, lady. I don't work for you. Fuck off and die. I'm in tech, not in gas processing. Shut up. Oh, God. Yeah.
So, Paul, how's your writing been going?
Okay, so first of all, I told my patrons this. I actually set up a contest. I gave them the blurb for the book, the synopsis of the book that I'm working on. and said, "What would you title this?" Because I still don't have a title. For the first time in my fucking life, I cannot come up with a title. I can't even come up with a working title. I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. So it's frustrating.
I suggest your working title is The Unlubricated Dildo of Truth.
No, that's under my pseudonym. That is not under this. That's a political thriller.
It has to have a dinosaur involved somehow if it's under your pseudonym.
Well, one of the attorneys is dinosaur. I will say that.
Ooh, that works.
The AG is a velociraptor. It's exactly what you want. It's, just going after the weak or something.
For Leanne, how do I pry books out of that bookcase behind me? With some difficulty.
Every time he pulls out a book, I wonder if the whole fucking thing's going to collapse, because I have a feeling that the very bottom of that stack is under a lot of strain. So
I'm going to go ahead next year and replace the bookshelves that I have along the wall. I've got a couple lurking over there. I'm going to go ahead and replace those with some that are more stout. Since I'm having shoulder surgery, I'm probably going to approach somebody in the carpentry profession and have them built to my specifications and installed, rather than trying to do it myself, because it'll be probably 9 months before I have all the use of both arms again.
See, here's what I see happening as I pour a cup of corpse coffee. Visit corpse coffee and get the .com and get the dead in your cup. God, I wish I could talk. As he pours coffee over his $100 keyboard.
If only Paul could speak.
What was I going to ask you?
You were going to make some kind of comment about books or a bookshelf. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. See, I can just see you getting somebody to do professional carpentry and putting all these bookshelves up. And within a year, after you put everything on there and you keep ordering books and everything else, just your fucking RPGs, it tears the whole wall of the house down. I could totally see this happening. Studs and
Sounds
all.
legit. Sounds legit.
Seems legit.
I'm planning on having the bookshelves made out of 3/4 inch wood, something that can stand up to the weight of everything that I want to put on it. And I'm also going to plan on having it go closer to the ceiling. So, yeah, there's
that. Yeah, you're going to need it.
But I will go ahead and have them run a board along the back so that it can be mounted in the back to the wall, rather than, risk falling on someone.
Yeah, I think you're going to need more than just an ankle bracket for that. I think you're going to need something a little more serious.
Yeah, pretty much.
I could be totally wrong on
Dean
that.
says that's a load-bearing bookcase.
Yeah, exactly. You make it part of the support. Someone should read
mine aren't. My current ones are not custom built. They are El Cheapo, bought from God only knows where. But the ones I'm going to get, I was going to make it myself and just cut it out of 3/4 inch plywood and not care what it looked like. But I suspect a carpenter will make it look a lot better than I could.
I think that goes for everybody who's not really into carpentry.
Yeah, I am not a carpenter. It would have definitely been a hack job of me putting this all together. It's going to cost significantly more than if I did it myself, but if I want to have it done in the next 12 months, I'll probably have to pay somebody to do it.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to have to mention this. All right. You want to know what the book synopsis is? Here we go. They were promised a fortune. What they found was an ancient trap. Engineer Jordan and the crew of the mining vessel Kirkland traveled a year to reach the McCready system. McCready, look it up. Following a lead from a prospecting satellite, the Kirkland deploys its mining operations on one of the system's 3 planets. From the moment they begin drilling through McCready's rocky surface and into the veins of precious metals, everything changes. Miners disappear, a malfunction threatens the Kirkland, and Jordan finds himself fighting to save both his ship and the miners trapped on the surface of a planet that isn't a planet. Oh, dun dun dun! There we go. You asked, there it is. And I think it's 27,000 words in, something like that. Yeah, that was mentioned on Patreon, actually. Somebody said that. You said it in the first line. Ah, shit, that can't possibly be the title, then. Isn't that a rule? You don't use the title as one of the tag keywords.
I've never known that to be true.
Working title. Yeah, that one. Somehow I don't that definitely is a working title. Engineering Death, Mining the Maw. You know, that actually is a good title for another book that I abandoned to get on this one.
Since you're talking mining, maybe it should be something like Deep Bore.
Somebody mentioned that too, but they were like, you don't want to have Bored to Death as your title for a mining book. But then again,
I didn't say Bored to Death.
No, somebody put that on Patreon as a possibility.
I'm saying Deep Bore.
Yeah, see, that has other connotations I just want to escape. Because somebody has to narrate that shit, and I would have something else going on in my head because I have a filthy, dirty old man mind, because that's how that works.
If only somebody hadn't invented the Boring Company, you could go ahead and, do that. But too bad, too late.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. The Boring Book. Glad to hear your surgery went well, mate. Vorscape. I think it's supposed to be Borescape, but it could be wrong.
Anyway, there's a bore scope that you use for looking inside rifles, so you can use the bore scope.
Yeah, So anyway, this book is another Suits novel, but different. Actually, it might take place in the same place as the same space as Station 3. I haven't decided yet, but different kinds of suits. So, but it is definitely a Suits book. It's just taking us a while to get there because I just can't shut up. We'll save Miners for Fool's Gold. Eaten alone. Dude, look at this shit. Fucking gold here. Eaten alone.
Eat and Run.
Eat and Run. Now, that's a totally different book. That's like sci-fi zombie cannibals. You can't really have zombie cannibals. Sci-fi cannibals. Sure not. Yeah, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Their screams are never heard. I like that. Would you fly near a planet that is highly, highly so radioactive that it's basically just spilling off into space and setting off your Geiger counters from a couple thousand kilometers away?
No, I'd let the robots do the work.
You think robots would survive in that shit for long?
That's why you build new robots. Go out and set up a little manufactory in the
and coat them with what? You'd have to have like lead in encasing layers of water to keep the electronics from getting fried. Oh my God, I can't even imagine how massive that would be. That'd be pretty bad. Anyway, I don't know why I have these thoughts. I don't know why I have these thoughts at all. What the hell have you been doing on the writing front? Do you have any problems with titles? Do you have a book that's dying for a title? Huh?
No. I've never had problems with titles. I've changed titles after I've started writing the book because the plot went somewhere different. But usually I can settle on a title pretty quick. As far as the writing goes, I've been working on this new novel for 20 days, counting today, and I've written 65,000 words, so I am pleased.
Excellent.
I'm busy making all kinds of problems happen for the main characters.
Just as an aside, if the camera shakes, it's because Murder Mittens is now awake. Yeah. So
there's your title, Murder Mittens.
That's a completely different book. This book has no cats in it. It would make no sense for a cat to be on this ship. It just wouldn't. It'd be a bad scene. Very bad scene.
Here, Matt's got this to say about yours here. You could have the radiation break down the robot's processing and make them more of a problem than help. You could make them like minions.
We are now the minions of the radiation god.
No, they have to talk in way you can't even understand what they're saying.
Well, yeah,
we're talking minions here.
Minions. Have you ever seen the movie Elysium?
Yes.
It's got Matt
believe so.
Damon in it.
It's the one where you're trying to get to the ring in orbit to get medical treatment.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
saw that and
I've seen it.
I was like, holy shit, that is how the augmented suits in uh Derelict would look if you took away all the electronics and all the armor and all the cloth and all the pressure systems. That's pretty much the way it would look underneath. I thought that was pretty cool, actually. It's the first time I'd seen it visualized like that with that kind of exoskeleton. That was neat. That movie's actually got a shit ton of hand wavium. Some of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though. But because there has to be a reason for not giving the rest of the world that kind of medical. It didn't make sense to me that you would just hold that out just to be a prick.
Apparently, you've never been rich, wealthy, and snobby.
Yeah, there is that. I hadn't thought about that, but I did like the film. I thought that was a great film. Cats in power armor. You know, if I could come up with a satiric parody with cats in powered armor and made it like a YA book, I would be the richest motherfucker on the planet. I'd make more money than God.
It could be titled Claws.
Claws in Space! Episode 1, Their Hairball Adventure. But a hairball needs this ointment. We have to deliver it through enemy line.
One of the cats is busy dragging a piece of carpet around while the other one's trying to hook only on the carpet while it's being rugged around the bridge.
The other one's hissing at a picture of the dog star. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's all sorts of, it gives you all sorts of horrible opportunities for a lot of stupid. Lots of opportunities for stupid. That shit would make a good cartoon. A good Looney Tunes style cartoon, or maybe this, that, and the other. It'd be fun. Oh, Xanda. Would we dare do that, Terry? Space Western fantasy. I think you write space Western fantasy just without the accents and covered wagons.
I don't write space Western fantasy. Not even close.
Depends how you define it. Depends how you define it.
Mine's too organized and civilized to be a space Western. The civilizations aren't primitive enough. They're not frontier enough.
Yeah, this is true. I would think Lord of the Rings mixed with Cowboy Bebop or Firefly. I would love to write something like Firefly. I think it would be a lot of fun to do that.
Then why don't you?
Because the story hasn't come to me that fits.
If you have to wait for your muse, you'll never get anything accomplished. Just go drag that biatch out of the closet and start writing.
I've got too many other stories that are saying, "Hey, I'm here. Write me. Remember me?" I can't go after that. I knew somebody was going to mention this. Space Hillbillies. That would be interesting. Okay, so Michael Plested has a series called Squidbillies. It's a bunch of squids that get captured in space, and they're redneck squids. It is ridiculous. You should go check it out. It's good stuff. Or Magic with space shit. What was the series you were talking about where they had like wizards that made the ships fly or were used as
Lynn
weapons?
Stewart writes a series called Starship's Mage.
There we go, Starship's Mage. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Squidbillies in space. Yeah, maybe it's not called Squidbillies. It's called something like that. Anyway, it's out there. You go look up Michael Plested. You'll find it. What are the mages in Starship's Mage? What do they do? What do the mages actually do in that? Pretty much everything, or just the ship stuff?
It depends on the mage.
Okay.
Mages have different areas of focus and different levels of power. Besides the ones that work on the starships, you have combat mages that can use their power offensively. Whereas a regular ship's mage, they can jump the ship and maybe do a few other things, but they're not capable of really fighting.
Gotcha. Writing a sci-fi Western kind of only makes sense in the context of having a small, less than civilized area that you're working with. It's got to be someplace that is on the edge of wilderness or the edge of expansion or a boom town. That's where you're typically going to find those. You find them on mining colonies. You would find those on things like that, places like that, in my mind, anyway. High Noon was rebuilt as a movie called Outland with Sean Connery that takes place in space. That is
very
most definitely
underrated movie.
Very space western, extremely, because they're in a tight space. Just a little bit of corruption fucks everything up. Horrible things are being done.
Space sheriff has to fight the bad guy.
And space sheriff has to come in there and deal with the corruption and the company men. I mean, it is a fucking space western. That is a different kind of story than you think it is. So when you talk about a sci-fi space western, you really have to think, in my mind, if you're going to write that, you have to have a setting that's talking to you. In my mind, Terry's going to yell at me about waiting for my muse, but that's not how I work. If I can't visualize the setting it's going into, it just doesn't work. And I haven't made that setting yet. Okay. But I think that has to be part of it. That has to be a significant portion, because you have to have that closed in, less than cultured or less than civilized area to start with, because that is what allows that kind of corruption to happen and the kinds of things that go on there, because no quote unquote civilized society would put up with that shit. So there you go. My thoughts.
I think you could do something like that. The issue isn't getting into your muse's headspace. It's deciding that you want to write a specific book set in a type of setting like that.
Mm-hmm.
And start writing it in that setting. The setting will develop itself as you go.
Yeah, but that's how I got this book. That's how I got the other book.
And it's working just fine.
But neither of them have a human villain, so you can't call them space westerns.
No, but if you wanted to write a space western, if you start writing something that is space westerny, it will develop around itself. Think of a crystal growing in the appropriate solution. It will come out on its own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Isn't your new book in kind of that sort of environment? Technically, yes. It would be if I had more people. A lot more people than I do. And if they were around one another a lot longer and other instances. But you are on the right track. Mining Camp is a perfect place to set a Western. Any kind of boomtown. Doesn't matter what kind of boomtown it is. Any kind of boomtown. You're going to get that kind of feel to it. More like an aesthetic than a setting. Yeah, I guess you're right, but okay, we can argue the semantics of it, but I get where you're going.
He's saying it's the trappings rather than
it's the tropes. It's the tropes that go with the setting. Because it describes a certain level of sophistication of society.
Now, I said that I don't write space Western fantasy. Maybe I do. I wrote a series of short stories involving a bounty hunter, and the space that these stories take place is very much a Western sort of environment.
And I would argue Empire of Bones is a Western because it is Lewis and Clark with a lot more military backup.
I think that's kind of a stretch to say that it's a Western.
It has that feel, though. You're going out and you're fighting the big bad. You don't know where you're going. You're exploring shit and everything else, and you've got the same characters week to week. Sounds like a fucking serial Western to me.
I don't think that's a Western. I don't think exploration is a Western.
I'm not saying by definition. I'm saying it has several of the tropes that I would associate with that. That's what I'm saying.
You say so. I don't agree with that assessment, but if you say so.
When the fuck have you ever agreed with me on anything?
Never.
There we go. More toe tags.
I'm surprised that, JR hasn't chimed in about Zag the bounty hunter. I'm surprised. He usually goes nuts. He must be off doing something to himself.
Matt said he did have more people for nearly the first 3 chapters. Mining Camp population 110, 109, 102, 87, 3. Oh, God. I would need at least a population of 200 people, I think, for that to work. I do have a horror Western, though, The Day the Town Died, which I've been talking about writing for like 12 years. But it's a Garaga It's Garaga story. Jesus. Well, he was paying attention after all. Yeah, Zig and Zag sounds like ridiculous because
they only have the only places those short stories are in anthologies. I haven't published them separately, so
you need 3 more.
You'd have to go find them.
Get 3 more and make it a collection.
I haven't published any of the damn short story. I've got a couple of dozen short stories that I have that I could publish that I just haven't.
What a loser! What a
I know, right? Loser. I'm just a total loser.
I don't know what the hell you're thinking. I really don't.
Focusing on the novels to the point to where I'm not paying attention to the rest.
Exactly. Makes things rather difficult. Oh Lord, here we go. He will learn that Jared is the MC and Terry is wrong. Terry's wrong about his own series. Got it.
That's right. JR obviously knows more about my series than I do.
You see, the red curtain in volume 7 of series 8 of book 3 of Terry Mixon's Empire of Bones, the red curtain signifies the curtain was fucking red.
He's just mad because I had Kelsey blow him away with a plasma gun and left nothing. He wanted a bloody death. I didn't even leave molecules when I finished wiping him out.
Well, that's he's become your Thomas Reed. And
I think I've killed him 2 times, maybe 3 times in this series. I'm not sure. I know I killed him twice.
I think I've mentioned him 3 times. I mean, Zilf keeps mentioning the Handley 5 incident in Station 3. And if enough people want me to write that, I'll do that, because that'll be Zilf and that team again, dealing with humans, not good humans either. But I placed that at a place called Handley 5, which of course is a fucking disaster area, because it just described a certain person I know. So there you go. He should be happy. Not only does he get killed in their books, he also becomes like a mainstay. Twice in EOB, Empire of Bones, right? Once in a short story unpublished. Gotcha. So yeah, 3 times. Why haven't you killed him in the new books? Why do you say that for your personal shit? You haven't used him as a big character in one of the other books or series you've been writing?
I don't think so. I killed him in a couple of short stories, though. So he's died more than 3 times. I've killed him in some other stuff.
I just don't remember slacking.
Where I've killed him.
I think you've been slacking. I mean, it's understood when oh fuck, I have to name one of the characters Thomas Reed. God damn it. We'll never see him though. That'll work.
Well, you've got all those people off in that other location you were talking about that no one will ever see.
Did you see the thing I put on? Did you get that thing I sent you? About the red suits?
Did you get the thing I sent?
About everybody wearing red suits?
No.
It was like, my brain was like, that's cliche. Red suits, red shirts. And my point was, Ed? What are you trying to say? What do you think I'm trying to say? There may be some death and destruction, and I need some red shirts. So why not have them all wear red suits? It'd be much funnier that way. 100 years from now, some academic will be like, so what Mr. Cooley is saying here is that even the other main characters that are mentioned and very important to the story are all going to die or might die. He makes it very clear they shall not be safe for the rest of the book. And so then he also try and make them as likable as possible to make sure that you feel suspenseful about their ends. Here endeth the lesson. That's the kind of shit that I heard in literature classes.
Yeah, if I'm going to have to kill off J.R. Handley in The Last Hunter, I'll probably have him be some brainless noob that ends up getting killed because he's just convenient in the right place at the right time. Part of somebody else's plan.
The guy behind the keyboard that can't keyboard. This is a really great scene, actually. Think about this. They're reduced to manual communications over keyboards or whatever, because they're dealing with really ancient technology, and one of them can only hunt and peck and cannot spell on one end, and on the other end you have a very educated engineer just smashing his head to the wall trying to translate what the fuck he's saying.
You see, JR said this.
Right.
But I only glanced over there, and my brain read, as long as I'm gay. So he is now going to be a gay character.
Oh my God. I have no comment on this subject whatsoever. Oh, Dean is offering himself up as tribute.
I have a few people I'm going to kill.
I still have a fuck ton of people to clear out in the graveyard. So I have to take care of that in the first book of Extinction. If you were going to break up a novel into 3 parts, I know you would never do this because you're a douche, but if you're going to break up a novel in 3 parts in your head, is it necessary to have those other 2 parts be as long as another part of the book?
Yes, I believe so. Within rough boundaries, anyway.
Even if they take place in different time periods.
Yes. Because you want the reading experience to be roughly equivalent. Somebody will feel robbed if they've got a big first section.
Oh, no. Okay.
Section.
Right, but I'm not talking. Well,
you kind of were.
I'm talking about all in the same novel, right? But the books split up within the novel.
Okay, well, that's different than what you. That's different than what you said.
No, well, I knew what I was saying. I knew what I was saying. It wasn't my fault you couldn't keep up. I'm not talking about.
Read my mind.
They're not publishing 3 books, breaking the novel up into 3 books. It is still a novel sold as a novel. Okay. But internally, each of these 3 parts could almost stand alone. Is the first part, if I were to do that, is it okay for it to be 15,000 words, the second part to be 70, 75, and the third part to be like 25, 30, if that's what it takes to make the story work?
I'd see what your beta readers say.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of such. I'm not such a fan of such lopsided size.
Why do you think I'm asking the question?
Well, the answer is automatically no. It needs to be closer together.
As far as length of words, number of words. Xander says, do not kill me in a book. Paul the same. Do not kill me in a book. I can't tell if this is a plea that is being facetious.
Obviously, right there, instead of killing him, you just have to maim him horribly.
I would never maim characters horribly. I don't do that sort of thing.
You mean you don't do like I did with you and chop off your lower half and leave you with nothing from the waist down?
There's very, very seldom I let them survive, just because if I let them live, I feel like I need to revisit them and say what happened to them and then deal with it. I don't need another character like that. I like to leave them. I'll let them drop where they drop.
You remember there's a commercial going on. It's one of those places that compares hotels or trips or whatever. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, and the guy's coming over to meet mom and dad, the girlfriend's mom and dad. And the girlfriend's like, don't mention site X because my mom's a bit of a conspiracy theorist about that. So, of course, the first thing they do in the commercial is mention it. And she's like doing this thing with her eyes. Open your eyes, Todd. I feel like I should make JR that character. Open your eyes.
Sorry. We have a technical issue.
Are we?
We have a technical issue.
What's that?
There's a dog. Apparently,
that doesn't sound very technical. I've never met a technical dog.
Who apparently needs to go POTTY.
Okay. Go ahead and go POTTY.
Wait, somebody's coming to get her. Yay! My Luna. And poor little girl. All right. Technical problems. Oh, shit. More technical problems probably inbound. Prepare yourself, gird your loins for shadow sightings, possible shadow sightings, which may include or not a tail. Anyway, I just wonder about these things because it makes sense in my head that way. We'll get there when we get there. I just realized that the parts are not going to be at all symmetrical. Otherwise, this would be a 200,000 word book. Well, 250. And I would have to come up with a bunch of filler, and I just do not want to do that. Well, everybody wants me to get on with the killing. Let's get on with the killing. There you go.
The right answer is whatever works for your story. Doesn't matter what I think is right. It matters what you think.
I know. I have to ask these questions because as much as I'm asking you, I'm asking me. Is getting it out of my head.
You're asking me so you can busily ignore my opinion because you don't agree.
No, that's not true. I'm keeping your opinion. I take your opinion seriously. That's why I asked for it.
I'm just yanking your chain.
I know you are, you fucker. Anyway. Other than that, the hell else has been going on writing wise? It sounds like you're in a good place. Are you ever coming back to Empire of Bones? Because
I am on a schedule of releasing a Last Hunter book every 2 months. If I want to do an Empire book, I've got to build up some extra lead time, and I haven't done it yet. I'm in a better place, but I haven't got enough time saved up. It's definitely going to be next year before I get to one.
Do we ever have enough time saved up?
Or I could just wait until all 15 books in this series are done and then go back and write some more.
Well, you could do that. Yeah, you could do that. That would be insanity, though. What are you thinking?
Why would it be insane?
Because it's you. I have to make these comments.
See, the thing is, this series, the Last Hunter series, is at the point right now, book 5 is about to come out, not tomorrow, but the week after tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so with 4 books out, those 4 books are equaling the rest of my back catalog and new publishing. So I would be an idiot not to grow that to that 15 books.
No, you would be foolish. Your bank account is thanking you right now.
So I've got to think of that series because it's making the money. And when I'm done with that series, then the option will be, do I want to do another one with them? Do I want to take a break and write some more of my own and then go back? The options are open. But I've got to pay attention to what pays the bills. And J.R. Handley, he doesn't pay the bills.
He says, write a chapter here and there for the next DOB and release on Vela for people interested or on your Patreon.
Well, I would like to do that. But right now, JR, I wrote 65,000 words on The Last Hunter in the last 20 days. That eats up a lot of creative brain space to write that many words. And that actually is a good side gig into something else. But when I'm done writing for the day, I don't have any more left in me to write another 1,000 words. I would if I could.
Talked about that.
But I just don't got it in me. And I heard Kevin McLaughlin talking on Facebook about, he was talking about how long it takes you to write something, the creative time it takes you, the technical time it takes you to write something with a keyboard. I can write X number of words an hour, blah, blah, blah. But he said there's also creative time. How many words can I creatively do in that hour? And it's not sometimes, much faster. Even if you're doing like, say, dictation, you still may not be creatively able to do a ton more than you might do with a keyboard. But for me, what that struck a chord with is there's only so many creative words I can do a day in and day out. I was trying to do 5,000 words a day, and it's draining my brain. So I'm cutting back to 4,000 words a day, aiming as a target, trying to make it something that's more sustainable so that I can keep hitting that stride day in and day out. I apparently have a creative limit on how much I can write a day.
What is the most you've gotten done in a day?
12,000 words.
How many?
12,000.
I wrote 11 in one day. Typed 11 in one
I
day.
did not write anything for the next 2 days when I was done.
Well,
So,
I finished Outbreak that night.
Not much help.
I finished Outbreak that night. It's kind of like Station 3. I think I finished the last 3 chapters or something like that in like a 6,000 word sprint or 6,500 word sprint. So it does happen once I'm ready to go. Burnout is a real, especially since you're on that kind of schedule right now with the other books, burnout is a serious consideration and a problem.
I pay attention to what I can sustainably create. If I felt like I was being burned out, then I'd have to cut back on the words. Yeah. But 5,000 is too many in a day. But if I cut it back down to 4,000 as the target, even the days that I don't hit, I'm still doing well and I can do it the next day.
Some days I just need to spend researching. I mean, literally, I have to go, okay, I've got the following questions because whatever happens, I need to know these things. Let's get them knocked out now. And so sometimes there's stuff you know that you don't know and you need to get it done because otherwise you may do something, develop a plot line that is impossible, completely impossible in your universe without doing serious damage to it. So rather than having to backtrack, it makes sense for me to go and do that research. Or if I'm stuck about where to go, quite often going through and doing some research on what the next steps are or something else, or even on what I'm talking about at that time where I got stuck, sometimes I'll break it loose. But there are times where, research counts as writing. It does for your creative space because that's all information. Remember, everything that we write, everything that we think about, everything we design, every piece of art we create, every piece of music, it's just all a collective of our experience. So but
none of the others pay for my mortgage, so I've got to focus on the one that does.
Why is everything about you? I'm basically saying that there are days where you kind of have to give yourself that creative space to dream. And you do have to not beat yourself up about it because sometimes it is necessary. Yeah, note taking is writing. That is exactly right. If I'm sitting down in front of the TV, half watching a bad hockey game or a Thursday night football game, because they're all awful, I will have my notebook out in front of me and I'll be doodling or writing down ideas or thinking about a certain scene I want to write for a book that may not exist yet. And maybe that is part of also figuring out what that book is. So I write notes to myself all the freaking time, all the time. And it is part of that because it helps you break things loose. It's a good thing. The reason why we're on for our live shows, for instance, is we spend 30 minutes babbling before we ever get here. So instead of us sitting there going, trying to engage our brains, we already have spent some time doing that.
And just think, if things had come out 5 minutes differently, we'd have been sitting here talking on the air when one of the cats discovered one of the cones and stuck their head in it and destroyed the other room.
Yeah, y'all missed that. I missed it too because I went to go get coffee. I come back, the camera's all fucked up, and Terry's not at his desk. And by the time I get the headphones on, I'm getting the play-by-play of the absolute disaster hurricane that occurred. He's filing for FEMA insurance at this point. I mean, that was like a minute before showtime.
It was
literally like 45 seconds before showtime is when he finally managed to get everything back up.
You're lucky. You're lucky the cat managed to get the coat off because I was having no luck catching the cat.
It's like trying to catch a greased pig at the rodeo. You're trying to help the cat. The cat's just making things so much worse. Yeah, exactly. Love it.
I hear the crashing down the hall and I turn my head and I look down there and I see the cat with the cone on and I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
How does that happen? Why did you think this was a good idea?
The cat coned itself.
Oh my God. It's like the cat belling itself. That reminds me of a Tom and Jerry cartoon. Holy shit, I'm old. Anyway. Yeah, the whole business decision thing. I got asked on a podcast that JR had me on, I guess last week. It's like, what are you going to write next? It's like, I don't know, another monster book. Whatever that is, I don't know, but another monster book. Or suspense thriller. How about that? And you have your you know what you're writing for now and what the series are. So you're in a good
I
spot.
signed a 15-book contract, so I think I know what I'm writing for right now.
Yeah, you're in a good space. You're in a good space. That pleases me. Somebody should be.
So let's see. I'm just book 5 is about to come out. Book 6 is halfway written. So I'm not quite to the halfway point in this series.
Mhm.
Coming out every 2 months. That's what, almost 2 years more? Less than 2 years, but close to 2 years more.
Yeah, your dance card is full.
My dance card's pretty full.
I don't currently have a dance card.
Did you see the shirt I'm wearing?
Yeah, you're on shrooms. Maybe
Shades
I'm on
of
shrooms.
Balticon.
Yeah, Shades of Balticon. I am not wearing my Balticon shirt. I'm wearing my Fubar shirt because, stuff and things or something. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what needs to write money based on Station 3 sales. I haven't seen any royalty checks yet for that. I think the end of this quarter, I see that. I think the end of this quarter, I finally see what Station 3 has been doing. But I think it's probably good enough to go ahead and make another engineer combat book. And there's still like 2 more that I want to write. Different conceits, but all kind of like the same. The suit's a very important part of everything. You've got not necessarily combat trained people, but people who know how to do their other things, put them in the boiler and let it go crazy.
I want to see you write Space Samurai books.
It's funny. Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever. Oh, thank you, Leanne. I would love to write another Gears Inferno book. In fact, maybe we'll talk about that soon. There was a video game called Cyberpunk 2077. It came out. Everybody had been waiting for it for years. It came out and it was horrible. It was so buggy. Yeah, that one, right? Where things like the cars were running over pedestrians and things like that. And the cars would get stuck in this endless loop of bullshit. The characters get stuck in walls, things like that. It was just awful. Anyway, they've since fixed it and people are now forgiving it or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Forget all that. That's not important. Netflix made a animated series, an anime style series of it. And it was very cyberpunk to the hilt. And it actually helped me kind of visualize some stuff that I've been having trouble visualizing, I guess, for years, about how some of these cities would look in the Gibson space or the Sterling space or some of the other Shiner cyberpunk whatnot, what they would look like. It was excellent because I could see how crowded, congested, and really visualize it in a more futuristic way than Akira had it. So it was good to watch it. The story had so many plot holes, and the ending, of course, became the problem with most of the animated, where it got campy and stupid and blah, blah, blah. So I was annoyed, but overall I enjoyed it. It was pretty good.
See, now the thing that you didn't link up how you got to Cyberpunk from Samurai.
Oh,
a Cyberpunk team is Street Samurai. A Street Samurai is a specific thing in Cyberpunk, and that's how you made the jump from one to the other.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that thread. So they had them, of course, in there. And so it was just fun watching the Megacorp and everything else. Everybody was a little afraid of the Megacorp for some reason. Can't imagine why. It's like you're the badass until they send an extraction team, and then you're nothing. When an extraction team comes in, doesn't matter how cybered up is, you're going down. They're like the cops in GTA 5. That's a great song. All the cops are dicks in GTA 5 or something like that. It's so bad. Anyway, that film categorized and put things in place for me about some other stories that I really want to write in the Soul and Beyond universe. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. So I would recommend, if you're interested in cyberpunk, it's pretty good. I just hated the ending. Hated it. Absolutely reviled.
I still recommend that you read the series.
Which series?
You don't remember?
I'm confused. Which series?
I'm trying to remember the name of the series now.
You don't remember? What series? I don't remember either.
You're supposed to remember. That's
why
I tell you these things. You're supposed to, do that.
All right. If somebody has found Terry's memory and brain cells, please send an email to Terry's brain at DRS.com.
It's terrible when I can never remember things.
Yeah, I know exactly the feeling. But I found that was fun because it's just an interesting universe. I haven't read Cyberpunk in a long time. I probably need to go do that again. I need to go read more of what I'm writing to a certain degree, but there's other stuff I want to be reading. And I'm doing research, real live research, as a matter of fact, like going places and things like that, and people watching in places. I'm actually researching. It's amazing. I know
it's hard authorized. Can you do that?
I don't know. What else do you call it when you go out and you basically just sit there and watch people do what they do and write down ideas or make mental notes? What is that? Oh yeah, stalking. That's what they call it. Yeah, it was thingamajiggy. The what's a thingamajiggy. Yeah, there you go. Where have I been? Just to some clubs. Yes, it's okay. Yeah. Anything interesting I've discovered in my research? It is 2000.
Before you get to that, it was Jeff Brackett's Streets of Pain.
There you go. Yes, I got it. I have it. Actually.
I can remember the author name. I'm going, what is the name of the book? I can't remember the book.
I'm glad you reminded me of that.
The omnibus is out, so you can get all three books in one fell swoop.
I got them. I forgot I had them. It is 2022. Okay, there are places that look like they walked out of 95. And when I'm talking about 95, I'm talking about the industrial EBM culture. There are those people who still go at all ages, and even the youngsters are dressed like we were in 95 to a certain degree. It's funny how much of that goes. And then, of course, the entire club sets of the 80s and 90s and all that are still played. And it's curious. It's just like I'm going there trying to imagine what everything looked and sounded like on 96 and they have a fucking night that's all it is. And it's just funny. It's like brain damage. It's like going back and seeing a different side of the era you grew up in, because the clubs I went to like that in college were nothing like that. So it's funny looking at that and just watching people and how they react and everything. I don't get around people much, so just watching how they interact on the dance floor. Got to see some people who are way fucked up and some other people just having too good of a time. It's just interesting to sit there and watch people do what they do. Don't have to interact. Sometimes just watching and enjoying watching, just enjoying people being people. I don't know about you, but I see people all the time. If I'm waiting for something to happen, I'm bored, I'll just watch people. People are interesting. Amber Pain Collection. Oh, right. Yeah, that's what it's called. Gotcha. So I'm learning more about the city I was born in. How shocking is that? And its history. So that's also kind of been fun. And that all kind of goes back to that era. So I'm drenching myself in the past because I'm writing a book that takes place in the past for the first time, a recent past anyway, as opposed to the distant past. So I'm trying to get my pop culture references correct and dig into everything that the characters would know about and stuff like that.
Good luck with that.
Whew. Doing my damn due diligence, something like that. Yeah, there you go. Your friends do that while we wait at airports and make up ridiculous stories. She said the man in the gabardine suit was a spy. I think that's how that goes. I said, be careful, his bow tie is really a camera. We're going to get a copyright strike for Simon and Garfunkel. Fortunately, it's so bad, probably nobody could tell.
I think you should go to the airport and try to imagine everyone that goes by as a character in the Archer series.
I would need serious psycho hallucinogenics to make that properly function. God damn, it'd be fucking funny. Oh my God. Can you imagine Archer's cast as a flight crew?
I think I saw those episodes.
I don't know that they've ever been a commercial flight crew. That would be so bad, especially if Archer's the flight attendant. Oh God, that would just be horrible. Or Carol as that. That would just be freaking awful. Matt says another good place for people watching is shared office spaces. You get some really odd interaction there. Yes. I hate to say it, but even public bathrooms. And I'm not talking about watching people pee. I'm talking about watching them when they go to wash their hands or just paying attention in lines for the restrooms, what they're talking about, what they look like, who's drunk, who waited way too long before they have to pee and is about to gush all over the place. Stuff like that. Just kind of look around at it. I know it makes me sound creepy. Matt says decent mushrooms. Decent mushrooms that everyone would look like cartoons anyway, if you're lucky. People were people on my trip. It was everything else that was questionable. It was the clouds that became everything else in the universe. I highly recommend it. Anyway, that notwithstanding, what else were we talking about?
I don't know. We got into shrooms and Archer people in the airports, so I'm not sure where we were before.
Hey, you dragged me into there because Matt says something about airports.
It was people watching, is what we were talking about.
You know what I hate? I think I mentioned this on one of the shows. I hate that I can't go to a playground and sit back and just watch kids, just be around kids, listening to them and everything else without getting a side eye. I hate that.
I dare you to go to the playground and go, hey.
Are you fucking kidding? In this neighborhood, somebody shoot me. Rightly so, too. It's just one of those things where it makes me sad, that we've gotten to that point. So that's all. It just that reminded me of that. Just makes me sad. Paul's research is what the start of the chain was. Oh, yeah. You asked about the research. Going places is not something I can do normally because a lot of my stories have been set in Mesopotamia and that area. It's kind of dangerous and expensive to go there. Some of the stuff that's set in the United States are places I can't go or I don't live. Other places are areas that I would not necessarily like to visit. It's pretty rare that I go and hang out at a place and watch. I mean, most of the way I described the HMNS, our Natural Museum of Natural Science here, was from memory because I hadn't been there in a while. But it's just a different animal. Yes, you have, JR. You've been to portions of old Mesopotamia.
Travel to strange exotic lands, meet interesting natives, and kill them.
And try not to let them kill you. Yeah. Public webcams are pretty cool. That's scary. What in the freaking hell are you talking about? Old Flintstone Park. What?
Kid watching.
Oh. I was trying to close one and got another one. Yes. I included the ziggurat of Ur in the second story in Daemons of Goraga. I talk about Ur. Actually, the first story in that series takes place during the sack of Ur by the Kingdom of Elam, which is now Iran. What does that even refer to?
I think he's probably going to tell you.
Probably. Old Flintstone Park, not a clue. Not a freaking clue. See, JR, I granted the circumstances were not ideal, but you got to see some things that I will never get to see and yet really want to. Oh, okay.
So if you had unlimited money, would you put together your own mercenary company to provide security while you went to all the dangerous places in the world?
Fuck that. I've read that book. It doesn't end well for anybody. No, hell no. I would never hire mercenaries to do anything.
So if you were writing a book, you would never create a scholar that wants to go somewhere and have him create black water to protect him as he goes there?
That I might write, but that doesn't mean I'm going anywhere to research that shit. That ain't happening. Plus, I can't even fathom how expensive that would be and how many laws you would break in the process. I mean, there are places in Vietnam I'd love to go. They're perfectly safe to go to these days. Perfectly safe to go to. Costs a lot of money to do it, though. There's places in Thailand that costs money. I want to go to Duke of York Islands. I'll never have the money to do that or make that happen. My health won't let me have it. So there's all these things that I would love to do, but the chances of me ever getting to do them are slim to none. I have to live vicariously through, research, talking with people, looking at documentaries, looking up history and those things. Those are everything else you have to imagine. You just have to. It's just the nature of the beast.
And there Paul goes, hacking a lung up.
I'm sorry, guys.
Take a lozenge.
Awful. As soon as I finish my coffee, I will do that. JR says, if peace comes, wants to go back to Iraq, there were some stunning sights. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were awe-inspiring. Yes. Ishtar's Gate. Oh, God. So many things.
If peace comes, why do I see the movie I Come in Peace when he says it that way?
Don't get me started on that. Fuck. Anyway, there's all these places I want to go. There's all these places I want to see. Like I said, I'm not going to get a chance. The true horror of this globalized world is we're aware of everything to a certain extent that's going on. We're aware of what's in these biomes, and it's just tantalizing. I could go there and see this. I'll never have money to go there and see that. But at least I know it exists now. Matt says, in the early internet days, as a joke, we set up a website offering holidays in war zones. We provide you a gun and let you shoot people. Obviously a joke. We had to take it down. Too much traffic. I totally buy this. I totally buy that.
And so did other people that wanted to buy it.
God damn it. I don't ever want to be in a war zone. Thank you very much. I'm just not interested.
That's very wise.
Yeah, very wise. Even if I knew I was going to survive, I don't want to see that shit up close and personal. Thanks.
You can't unsee some things. It's better not.
I got enough trauma in my past. I don't need that shit. Anyway, it's not a joke. That, again, scares me and, once again, makes me question humanity. But I'm good at it. Been doing that for a lot of days, seems like. What do you think about a planet that rains lead?
I think that I wouldn't be living there because the environment that would propagate raining lead would be so hostile that we couldn't even land on it.
I'll try and remember to put the link in Discord, but there was an article today about these two gas giants they found, and they're postulating by what they're seeing that there's like clouds that rain lead or something along those lines, something that insane. Or maybe it's rain diamonds and has lead clouds. I can't remember. It's all fucked up. It's like so many weird things happen when you take high pressure and vary the temperature. Weird shit happens. Then add gravity to it, and you get the primordial mix of crazy. It's like, how does that work?
Watching the conversation in the sidebar go along, it reminds me of an episode that I watched of CSI Las Vegas last night. It's one of they started doing new seasons recently, so it's the actual brand newest episode that came out. And they had somebody that was killed while driving at night, was shot in the neck, and you could just about see the bullet in the neck. And they said it was a 22. And I said, oh yeah, that wasn't on purpose. That was not on purpose, because as somebody that knows even the barest thing about guns, the 22 would not have underpenetrated like that. If it did, it would have had to come from a long way away. And if it came from a long way away, it was not meant to hit anything, because you can't hit anything at those kind of distances with a 22 long rifle. You're muted again, so I can't hear you.
I said not intentionally.
Well, yeah, that's true. If you look on the internet, I was curious, and I went out looking on the internet, and there are people that have intentionally hit things at 300, 400, 500 yards with it, but they were talking in excess of a mile, and I was like, yeah, no, not with a 22 long rifle. You didn't hit something on purpose with that, and yet the CSIs had to jump through hoops of what could have happened here, and I'm like, no, this was accidental. This was an accidental shooting from somebody shooting into the air. I knew that in the first 3 minutes of the show, and they spent half the show trying to figure that out, because science.
Because that's what the show is.
Yeah, sometimes they do the science stupid.
Well, yeah, if you have to come up with 20 fucking different episodes a year, and literally you only have 2 to 3 months to write half of them, and then the other half, yeah, you're going to have some stupid going on. That is what we call a filler episode in this trash, because they couldn't come up with anything else. Here endeth the lesson.
Oh, I missed the other one that I thought was pretty good. Somebody in that same episode wanted to hide the rifle, so they went out to some freshly poured concrete and pushed the rifle down into the concrete. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Not even freshly poured concrete.
Why?
They were hiding it, but why would you not? Because it's already too thick for you to push an object like a rifle through it to where it goes underneath something when it's been poured for hours. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Poured for hours. Got it. Yeah.
It was not while it was poured. It's after the crew already left.
Yeah, it would be pretty turgid by that point. It's curing. You're not doing that.
It's already curing. You're not going to push a rifle through a piece of concrete.
No, you're going to make the outline of a rifle, letting everybody know where it was and what make it was.
So.
And probably the serial number. That'd be perfect.
I was apparently a little rough on that episode. I'm like, oh man, really? This is where we're going? Oh, this is bullshit.
This is a crock of crap. As he goes looking for stuff and things. I should have been organized. I blame the dog.
Well, sure, why not?
For those who don't know or have been keeping up, before you ask, we had Luna tested for all this stuff. She's lost 17 pounds this year. So was having a lot of accidents. We've got her on different meds now. And it seems to have done the trick for now. But if she doesn't start gaining weight, then we're going to have a talk about the Rainbow Bridge, so to speak. So that's been going on.
Quality of life is important.
I agreed. But that's been going on. So, yeah, if I've been a little distracted or not putting out a lot of audio, that's why. Anyway, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Did I mention it's awake? If something suddenly happens, like you hear loud clicking noises, bangs, and an oh shit shadow, yeah, you'll know what happened. You'll know exactly what happened. I guess we should take some questions from these folks.
We should. Everybody except JR, what are your questions?
Everybody except JR about why you just don't mention the whole Kelsey thing. Don't mention it. Thank you, Dean. Yeah, it is one of those deals. But she's been eating quite well. We'll just have to see if her body is absorbing the protein. That's going to be the big trick.
How old is she?
12.
Not the oldest that dogs can get, but starting to get up there in the senior years.
For American Bulldog, she's getting real close. Getting real close. Thanks for their average lifespan. With her, who the hell knows? Anyway, it's been fun. It's been great. It's been wonderful. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, you know that I have been down this road
Oh,
before.
I know. That's I
I
told
totally
you.
understand.
I told you earlier this year this was going to be a bad year for both of us, and there we go. It has been thus far. It has not been pleasant. Thanks, Jr. What questions do you have? Let's drag this out of the morosity. Morosity? Is that even a word? Today I learned that mantled. Something could be mantled. For some reason, I did not understand that was a real word. So it makes sense.
If you elevate somebody to the Baseball Hall of Fame, have they been Mickey Mantled?
Okay, how do I mute you? Can I block you even if you're one of the co-hosts? Can I do that? Is it here? Is that somewhere here? Somebody have a mute button for him? Can I mute you? Oh, I can mute you. Can I block you?
I wouldn't try it. You might end up blocking yourself because we're using the same account. So I'd be wary about that if I were you.
It would be pretty damn funny.
As both the hosts drop off, nobody can ever have another live episode. It's done.
YouTube account crashes. Everything's gone to shit. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, sounds good, doesn't it, dude? Why?
That's what you would get for trying to do development in the production side.
Oh, is that what we're calling it? What is a spin on a genre mashup you would like to rate? Something you haven't done already.
I think, Paul, you already said you want to do a space magic Western.
I did not say space magic Western. I did not even say, I did not even hint I was interested in that. I did not say that. You would say that.
You said you wanted to write something like Firefly.
Yeah, there's no magic in Firefly.
That's you can leave out the other, but it's a Western science fiction mix.
Yeah, very much so. I will not disagree with that. What is a genre mashup you would like to write?
I want to write, it has to be a mashup. That's rough because I stick pretty much into a genre. When I want to write something, I'm not really trying to jam two genres together.
I want to write my horror Western. I want to write it. The Day the Town Died is such a great title. Such a fucking great title.
Maybe I want to go ahead and write, a magic girls novel with romance.
Is something YA or something a little grittier than that?
Well, if it's got romance in there, maybe that's a little grittier than YA.
Well, as far as I don't know.
As far as the banging goes.
Well, yeah, but YA typically would not have the graphic descriptions of the banging.
I don't have anything close to enough knowledge of the genre to write a magic girl fantasy. That is not even close.
I think that may be a genre you have to go read before you attempt to write something that you think would fit in that genre. You'd have to
I've been reading
rules.
Reich Spoor, who is also a Bane author, wrote a book called Princess Holy Aura. And it is pretty amazing. He made a Facebook post that I'd have to go back and find it, where he explained about the various kinds of fiction that is involved with that kind of stuff. It was all extremely cogently written, very detailed, and I didn't understand a single thing he said in that post. Not even one. I reached the end of it no wiser than when I had started. It was hilarious because I'm reading it going, wow, what does any of this mean? I don't even know what this means.
Oh, I guess there's a couple of.
He was defining the various parts. Like this is this genre of this. This is this. He's using the names, the Japanese names, and I'm like, yeah, nothing. No, nope, beep, beep, nope, got nothing.
I'm reminded of one of my literature courses where we talked about all the different tenses that the Japanese language has. We talked about there's like 3 different versions of second person. So when you try and explain genres and you try and put things in Japanese genres or an analogous genre, there just isn't an analog. Because there's such a cultural difference, the analogs are very clumsy or don't exist at all. Seems like to me anyway. But I could be wrong on that.
You'd skipped a question, so I'm going to scroll back up here again.
Skipped a few.
Find it here. Well, there was one, you clicked on one, but there was one right in front of it. And I want to make sure it didn't get missed because.
Oh, right. Yeah. I saw that one. I think that you have, and this is something I really want to do. I want to write a treatment. I want to write a screenplay, and I'd love to write a video game, teleplay, or video game. Not teleplay; it's the wrong word, but a treatment for a video game idea. And I would love to write for like a series like Dead Space or something like that. I think my skills would be very good for that. But writing transfers to a lot of this different stuff from if you were talking about professional skills, you're talking about what I just said, basically being able to do stuff for other types of writing other than short stories and novels. You're also talking about learning how to put things into logical, chronological order. There's a lot of mental algebra going on with writing, in case you hadn't noticed. You're also doing a lot of work, just like you would do with math. So your brain is getting stimulated. I think that's another thing that really transfers over, is the fact you're exercising that part of your brain, especially if you're in a job where you don't get to exercise your brain very much. As far as skills, though, writing for me is transferred over into software development in a big way. And that's what allows me to do what I do, and why I'm somewhat good at it is because I can figure out how to piece together the pieces of a puzzle, because every program is a story to me. Every one of them has, they just unfold that way to me. They unfold to me as story with subplots that all kind of tie together. And I think that thinking of that way is what has made it easier for me to deal with code. So I think that stuff all transfers over. Maybe not. It may be tangentially if you think about it, but I think it's more related to more things that you do than you think. It's all very important to me.
It can translate over to something like tabletop role-playing games.
Oh yeah, that's another one. But not just video games, but yeah, anything tabletop. Absolutely, absolutely, it can. That's a really good point. All right, what else?
Let's see. For Terry, have you listened to or read The Wandering Inn by Pirate Abba? If not, the audiobook on Audible is amazing. Andrea Parsonu, I think I got the name right, does a fantastic job and has an amazing range of voices. I've heard the title. I haven't gotten to it at this point. I've got an incredible number of audiobooks waiting for me in my Audible account that I have not gotten to.
Which you have had for 7 fucking years. You're never going to get through them all.
Never.
Ever.
I'm never going to. I'm falling behind every year.
You're falling behind every week.
Let's see what else we got here.
Mr. Question Man.
Paul, there's one for you here.
Oh. The Black is already reverted. Derelict doesn't revert for 5 years, I think. And I think Station 3 is for 5. Everything else I have is fair game.
I've had a lot of problems. Xander says that I should bump Wandering Inn up. I've had a problem with a couple of different lit RPG series that I've read that became boring after listening to it for a while because the progression stopped. It started thinking it was epic fantasy and things like that. And I'm like, no, pass. If I wanted to read world building, I'd read something else. Sorry.
So what, the RPG aspects just kind of disappeared?
Part of the lit RPG is the progression. It's gaining skills, improving skills, right, and doing things like that. And when you forget what genre you're writing in, your audience goes, I'm bored. And they move on and they find something else.
I gotcha. I agree. I agree with that. Somebody else asked something.
There was a Fenn book called Couch Potato Chaos that I read. And it was definitely not your run-of-the-mill lit RPG. I'm going to get the second book in that series before too much longer and listen to it because it was radically funny.
That just sounds insane. Dean says, how are the second editions of the Black Series going? If you're talking about sales, they've sucked because I don't have any money to promote them. I don't even know how the audiobook sales are going. And I still don't have covers for the next 2 books. As soon as I get covers for the next 2 books, I'm thinking about accelerating the release cycle and go ahead and get those out before the end of the year. And then we'll do Evolution hopefully by end of first quarter of 2023 if I go with that plan. It just it takes money and time, and my cover artist, I don't know if he's got time, and I certainly don't have money, so we have to work out a few things before that happens.
This is Leo, also known as Chewy McBiteface.
Chewy McBiteface. He's getting bigger.
He is. He's a cat now. He's not a kitten anymore.
He got much bigger. Holy crap. Holy crap.
He's chilled the hell out, too. A good bit.
Huh. Paul might like the Wandering Inn as well, though I will say it is a fantasy setting, but the fantasy is pretty light low. Interesting.
Fantasy in a lit RPG sort of way is not your epic fantasy. I'm going to tell you that right now. So Paul's reservations is he's not a Tolkien fan. He doesn't like that kind of epic fantasy. You're not in any danger in any lit RPG series of running into that kind of epic fantasy. Though if you're gonna try out an epic fantasy book, I'd recommend you start with like the Cradle series by Will White. That's a good one, Will White. It's a very good series, and the audiobooks are excellent.
You were so being attacked. Totally being attacked. Oh. For those of you drinking at home, this is what, cat sighting number 3? My name McTurtleface.
It's still Chewy McBiteface.
Yeah, but you showed the other 2 in the hangers, in the hammocks.
Yeah, but that was before the show started.
Oh, you haven't shown them since we started the show. Oh, okay.
Well, no, there's nobody in the hangars right now.
Terry has hung some hammocks for the kiddies. So now they have more space and shouldn't fight as often. Har, 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 har.
Yeah, I'm waiting for one of the suction cups to come loose and the whole thing to come tumbling down.
Yeah,
that'll be very exciting.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. I was wondering about that too. I think we got all the questions here. Okay, if you hear strange noises and lip smacking, it's because I got a lozenge in my mouth. So there you go. And I hate these damn things because I want to take a sip of iced tea, but we all know how that's going to taste, so let's not do it. It's the little things in life. I'm still using WaveMaker. I'm still enjoying it. No idea why. Can't explain it. So Scrivener has kind of moved into second as my choice for writing, for those of you keeping track. I just think the project is stalled, unfortunately.
I'm still sticking with Microsoft Word and Dragon Naturally Speaking.
Yep, and that's working for you. I would never suggest you switch from it.
For me, as a linear writer, it works just fine.
Here we go again.
No, I'm being serious. Something like Scrivener is much better for somebody that writes out of order because you can rearrange things and do things, and I totally respect that. For me, as a linear writer, any text editor would work just fine. And Microsoft Word works well enough with Dragon Naturally Speaking, so I have no reason to go hunting around. Scrivener was working just fine with it as well when I was trying it, so I can't say that it doesn't work. I just don't need all the features. I don't use most of the features in Word.
Who does? Nobody does.
And by most of, I mean any, really.
I think the average Word user only uses like a max maybe 18 to 20%. I could be wrong, but it's ridiculously low.
If I use like 1%, that would be amazing. Because
well, I don't even use all that many features of Scrivener. I just like to.
I've set up the paragraph formatting the way I want them, I've set up a different thing for the heading. The chapter numbers get a heading.
Yep.
Everything else is body text,
Yep.
and I don't care.
Yep.
That's it. It's done.
I just love the fact that I can move chapters around. Saves my life so often. Xander says, how do you go about individually marketing on social media for your various projects, book releases, podcasts, Patreon content? How do you go? How do you all go about putting word out as individuals?
This is where maybe I fail because I don't. I have a newsletter. I post a couple of times on Facebook when a new book comes out, and I send a newsletter once a month for just letting people know what I'm doing and a new release to the same group. That's it. I don't do any other marketing.
Mm-hmm. But for the last several books you've had, you've worked. This is your third collaborative series, right?
Second.
I thought there was a third one.
I did one with Glenn. I did one with Jay and Cheney.
Okay, but what is this one?
This is the one with Jay and Cheney.
Okay. All right. So you got two of those. You don't have to worry about marketing for either of them because they're handled.
Yes. For my own books, I don't market. I don't market them at all other than sending out notice to my newsletter. That's it. I is a terrible marketer.
Not as awful as I am. I'm not on Facebook. So the only things I can do is the email newsletter, the podcast. I have not done shit for years about promoting the podcast, to be honest. I haven't done shit in years to change promos. Just ask J.R. Hanley. He'll yell at me. There's a lot of stuff there that I haven't done. There is advertising that Terry has done that worked for him. I haven't done any of it. I don't have money for it, so I'm ignoring it right now. There's all the guerrilla stuff you can do. And, part of that is also going on and reaching out to other podcasters and things like that, which is another thing I have not been doing. And most of that's because of anxiety more than anything else. And I hate asking things from people. I hate it.
It's going to be fun in Vegas.
Anyway, the bottom line is figuring out how to do all of that while also being able to create, and have the time to create and be on the clock. You got people expecting content. I got a podcast, for subscribers, it can't go dark because they're paying for it. So I got to keep putting out content for them if no one else. If the main podcast goes dark, I don't give a shit at this point, as long as I get the subscribers doing their stuff. So it takes time. It took a long time to build my following, and you might say I'm still building it. Terry got his following for his stuff. He now has a decision to make as to whether or not he's going to advertise his own works, but he's also got a day job, essentially. He's got a paycheck coming in for all of his books. So he's in good shape. So how much advertising does he need to do right now? Not a whole lot.
I heard early on that the best advertising you can do for your current book is to write the next book. And I have found it to be true.
And that's what I'm doing. That's why I think if I drop the next two books in the Black series this year, if I can make that happen, then I think that's going to help sales a lot. Even if the audiobooks aren't ready yet, I think it's going to help a lot. So I think that's going to be my change in plans. And then I got to work on evolution and get it back into shape, but I think it's pretty close. I just need somebody pro to look at it. You have to figure out what the timing is to do all this stuff too. I mean, are you going to try and drop it around Halloween? Are you going to drop your romance around Valentine's Day? Are you going to drop your fun, light romantic comedy during December? What are you going to do? When are you going to drop these things? Do you have a publishing schedule that's trying to rally around a date? Are you trying to meet that Prime Day? When are you going to run your 99 cents? Is that going to coincide with a game release, a movie release, another book release? Is there something else you're going to be competing with in the same space? Blah, 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 blah. You can do all of that shit and still not sell a fucking book. You can pay all this money to make all that work and not sell a fucking book. It is a crapshoot as to whether some of these things will work or not. Think about how many great movies came out and nobody went and saw them. And it wasn't until 5 years after their release, when they were on digital, that people went, wow, that's a really good movie. It's a shame it didn't make any money at the box office. Happens all the fucking time. Meanwhile, the mediocre piece of shit actually makes it. Is it always just marketing, or is it who's in it? What is it? And some things have built-in marketing, especially with movies. Or Stephen King doesn't have to market shit. You say his name and he's got a new book and people are going to buy it. David Weber, I imagine, is the same deal.
He's got a built-in audience.
Built-in audience is cultivated. It's different when you're starting out. It's different when you're mid-list.
You're talking movies and whatnot. One of the ones that I've been waiting for to come out, that comes out just in another week, I think it is one of those superhero movies that Paul will never go see. I'm going to see Black Adam because it's got The Rock starring as Black Adam.
And I knew you were going to say
he's going to rip people in half and all these things. He's not a good guy. He's not the hero of this story.
It's
really fun to watch the chaos.
He's an anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero, and anti-heroes like Deadpool are fun.
Yeah, the problem is I just don't think that the reason Deadpool works is because of the comedy aspect. Black Adam's a different sort of thing, and I don't think Marvel knows how to pull that off without turning it into a campy mess.
I'm going to wager it's not campy. Did you see who's starring alongside of him?
No, I did not.
The head of the superhero side is being played by Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, yeah, that I did see. Who's he playing?
I didn't expect that. I'm not familiar with the character. Doctor something or another.
Not Doctor Strange.
Uses some kind of helmet. No, some kind of helmet to give him some kind of mystical powers. He's part of the Justice Society, and I don't really know much about the Justice Society.
I don't know shit about DC. I don't know shit about Marvel. I don't know shit.
But I'm going to wager, simply based on word of mouth that I've heard and the trailers that I've seen, it is not going to be campy.
I think maybe you misunderstand what I mean, but we'll see.
Well, what do you mean? Explain it to me.
I just mean Marvel doesn't know how to do gritty.
I don't believe this is going to be gritty. I don't believe this will be gritty.
And if it's an anti-hero,
this is not Marvel. This is DC.
Well,
Black Adam is a DC property.
Okay, fine. Either way, who they're getting to do this shit, I don't think they're going to do it right.
I don't have any idea who's directing it.
Why are you listening to me anyway? I'm not going to see it. My opinion is useless. I'll stop talking. I should have no opinion.
I was bringing it up as an example of I'm going to see this movie because I liked the Shazam movie when it came out, and it was campy. I will grant you that movie was campy. And I don't think Black Adam will be, but I love The Rock. I love seeing him in various roles, and that is a riser for me to go see a movie. I went and saw San Andreas, the disaster movie with him in it. That's not the kind of movie I normally go see. I went to see it because The Rock was in it.
All right, it's official. Terry's got a man crush on The Rock.
I have a man crush on The Rock.
So sad. Oh my God. Oh, just horrible. Oh.
I'm not one to be known for canoodling strangers, but if it was The Rock, I might.
If it was Jamie Lee Curtis, we'd have an issue. Anyway, I got a thing for Jamie Lee Curtis. It's just not healthy at all. But I will not see the last 3 Halloween movies. It's not happening. Anyway, God, how did we get on this man crush shit? I'm glad you're going to see an anti-hero movie. I'm glad you're going to have a good time. I'm trying to go find a time to go see Smile.
I don't have a problem with seeing anti-hero movies. I kind of like anti-heroes.
I know you don't. I'm giving you shit as usual.
What is Smile?
It's a horror movie.
Oh, okay.
It's a horror movie. It looks awesome.
Leanne says that The Rock was the worst part of San Andreas.
Have you seen Southland Tales?
I don't think so, no.
Oh my God. If you're a Rock fan, you need to go watch that.
What is it?
It's based on a book. And it is this disjointed mess of insanity that you would probably absolutely love.
That's probably the reason if it's disjointed in time, I'm not interested.
It's not disjointed in time necessarily. It's just the stories are disjointed. Sorta. It's hard to explain, dude.
Watching him in Jumanji was fun.
Excuse me, I'll take your word for it. I honestly think the last movie I saw The Rock in was Doom. I think that was the last thing I saw him in.
Doom? I don't think I've seen that one.
Count yourself lucky. It's pretty shit. It had a lot of promise, but they turned it into a campy fucking mess, as they want to do. That's what I really hate about when they try and make a video game adaptation into a movie. They always just make it so fucking stupid, and there's no reason to do it that way. Just no way. Interesting. But, we're not talking about that right now, about the fact they're incapable of making a good video game adaptations. Just hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. Although I bet you could turn Alien Isolation into a good film. I mean, it practically is a film. So many things to write. So many things to write.
Well, Paul.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it did, didn't it? Huh.
Was it Carl Urban?
I don't know what his name is.
I always get him and Keith Urban confused, but one of them sings, the other doesn't.
Keith Urban sings, and it's married to.
Then it's Carl Urban is the actor, and I liked watching him in Dread. That was a good movie. Gritty. You want to talk to me watching a gritty movie? I watched Dread. That's gritty.
Matt says, I thought that Doom was going to be really great, and then I saw it. That's kind of
I saw her face.
Now I'm a deceiver.
Now we got another YouTube strike.
There you go. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of ownership's claims on this video, Oh, shit. Never mind. It's getting ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. There is so much music out this month, man. So much insane music. Everything from like gothic industrial and dark wave to, extreme, shouty, horrible, grindy metal that is so good for action scenes. Several soundtracks are out. The Halloween Ends soundtrack is fucking amazing. I just saw the movie The Machine last night. Absolutely incredible. Go see that. Go get that flick. It's streaming, I think, on Prime or Netflix, one of the two. Or maybe it's on Shudder. I don't remember. Really good. The soundtrack is badass. Stuff for you to check out. Lovely, wonderful stuff. All Terry can tell you about is something his wife watched that he wasn't really watching. There you go. You see, we just need to make the entire show where it's just that. We'll just put it on Twitch and stream 24 hours a day. The cat bed. I'm still waiting for this. Oh, there's a good question. What do you think? What do you think of rebranding old books that didn't do as good and relaunching them?
I think that's a wise decision. If I ever decide to do the post-apocalyptic book series again, I'll take the first book down, find a decent cover artist to do the cover because it's obvious that I can't do post-apocalyptic covers, and then relaunch it and try again.
If I had money and time, I would relaunch Garrett's Inferno back as Flames. I would put it back as its original title and never make the mistake of listening to Terry ever again.
I never recommended Garrett's Inferno.
Or other people for that matter.
All I told you was Flames is a very generic word.
And it's still.
And if anybody tries to do a search for Flames, they are not going to find your book. They're going to find every book on starting campfires.
As opposed to not finding my book at all.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just saying that I didn't suggest Garrett's Inferno because, wow, yeah, that's much more searchable. No, that was not my thought at all when I was suggesting.
Well, it doesn't matter. All of you can fuck off and die. I would go back and I would rename it Flames, and I would stick by it.
There you go.
Because it's a damn good title for a movie, even if whatever. Just the way the book should have been titled. But that's not important. So you would rebrand your Apocalypse. So would you rename them?
I would not, but the cover was horrible, and that did not help.
Yeah, that never helps if the cover doesn't match the genre at all.
It matched the genre. It was just a terrible cover.
Okay, so new titles, new cover. For me, anyway. Well, actually, I'd keep my current cover. I would just remake the title. I don't know if there's any other books that I would rename at this point. I don't think so. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of.
You should retitle it The Life and Death of J.R. Handling.
No, I'm not writing that book. Why would I write that book? He's not even in that book. What the hell would this is why you come up with these ideas and you say shit like that. And it's like, you're the dumbest human being alive if you believe that fucking thing Terry Mixon says. And if you execute it, you're even dumber.
It's your path to riches, my friend.
Whatever Terry says, do exactly the opposite. And that should be your first instinct when listening to him. He is a walking antimatter machine, anti-logic, antimatter, anti-reality, possibly anti-gravity. If you've seen him, I mean, something's got to be holding all that up. So, there's all this stuff. There's all these things you have to think about and take, you have to really take into consideration when you're listening to Terry Mixon.
Can confirm.
Can confirm all the above are true. Hashtag relatable, What are you looking at now? Oh, no. If the cat actually chews through that may not go well. That may not.
That's
go
what
well
I was thinking. All. I was like, yeah, that could go very wrong. It's pretty thick, but he's thinking about it.
Oh my God. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. That's pretty awesome.
Real dumb cat.
He's not a dumb cat. He's a cat. As opposed to this one, who's currently just enjoying his heating pad, because that's how he rolls. That's definitely how he rolls. Well, you got any other questions? Since it's getting late.
So the answer is 42.
Either hockey or baseball or college football's on. One of the three. I don't know if you heard the dog bark.
Just a little.
I don't know if you heard that. Just a little. Yeah. Is there anything you're looking forward to that's coming out soon? Book or movie or anything?
Well, the Black Adam.
Besides Black Adam. Besides that. I mean, good things.
Oh, well, my idea of what's good is not necessarily yours. The only thing that I'm looking forward to isn't even done yet. I'm looking forward to the second half of Dune.
Oh, okay. Good enough. Oh, any planned sales for the spooky season? Yeah, I'm probably going to put the black on sale real soon. And then I may actually put all my quote unquote horror titles on sale this year. I may do that. Like the week of Halloween. Maybe I'll do that for a week. Run everything as 99 cents. Might as well. Horror could probably do well this time of year. Yeah, kind of. It's funny you say that because I'm watching Twitter and I'm following a lot of horror authors now. So I'm seeing all the horror presses are going like, yes, we have a new book coming out every week this month. And I'm like, yeah, things are kind of stacking up. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on in publishing, indie publishing anyway right now. Indie publishing and small presses, which I love about them because they can turn on a dime to do anything they want. They just have to do it and know how to do it. So I need to hook up with another press like that at some point, or somebody much larger. We'll see. All right, man.
Maybe
my voice.
If only you had a place you could go to network.
A place I could go to network? Where would that be?
I don't know. Maybe Vegas.
I thought we were going there to gamble, dude.
You are so wrong.
I thought we were just
My
going
only
there to
gamble in Vegas is taking you with me.
That is quite the gamble. That is very much a gamble. Well, if you have a question or comment about this episode, you can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can mastodon me at Paul E. Cooley at mastodon.social. You can find us on Facebook, and listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, where Terry Mixon handles and wrangles all the madness. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast to find our ugly mugs and see way too damn many cats and our, watch comments from our obnoxious viewers. And we have to thank our wonderful host, Pod Hoster, who makes all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive content and other madness. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Tony L. Joy, Veronica Jagir, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Nathan Cosby, and Isabel Cushy. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this possible. And thank you for showing up and giving us hell and shenanigans, participating in the shenanigans. We appreciate it. And one more thing, in case you hadn't noticed, we were drinking a lot of coffee during this episode, and Carrie and I get our coffee from one place, and that is corpsecoffee.com. Visit corpsecoffee.com and check out their array of coffees, their boutique teas, and their wonderfully weird webcomic, and tell them DRS sent you. Visit corpsecoffee.com and get the dead in your cup. All right. With that, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy your weekend, folks. It was wonderful seeing you, talking to you, and everything else. And we look forward to doing this again soon. Remember, every third Saturday of the month. Unless we're in Vegas. In Vegas.
Well, we'll have to see, if that weekend is going to be, something. Let's see. Let's look ahead and see what we're doing. And
how much booze do you guys? Okay.
It looks like that one is. Wait a minute. No, that's going to be. We're going to be flying. I'm going to be flying back the day before that. Yeah. If you're coming back on Friday, then you'll be back the day before as well.
All right. So then we can possibly do the live show for not both sick and dying. Jared asks, how much booze do you guys put into your death cup of coffee? Well, since Terry can't drink, none. And since I don't like booze in my coffee unless it's Jameson or Irish with Irish cream and etc. I like Irish coffee, but I haven't made one in a long time. I got to be in the mood for Irish coffee. I would not drink it during the show. No, I might smoke a bowl, sit here with my medicinal bong and, make that happen. That could happen, but not going to do that. It's not legal here in Texas. So I guess I shouldn't do that. I mean, I don't have access to anything like that. I mean, I should shut up now. With that, we are going to get out of here. Y'all have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on the live show next month. Bye-bye.